So Washington Post has a story, a very good story on where's the money going, right? Because a lot of companies are actually making a decent amount of profits these days. The Dow has recovered, companies have recovered, financial and non-financial. And so, for example, I'll give you the exact number actually. Non-financial companies hold now $1.8 trillion in cash and short-term assets at the end of the second quarter. That's according to the Federal Reserve. So that's a whole lot of money. Now the question is, why are they not spending it to get more jobs, to stimulate the economy? That's what we're trying to figure out. And what are they spending it on? What are they doing with the money, right? Well, it turns out that they have, in the last quarter, they have so far this year, they have purchased back $273 billion of their own shares. So Microsoft, IBM, whatever it might be, they're buying back their own shares. And I thought that's kind of curious. First of all, is that a big number? Yes. It is 5 times as much as what they were doing the year before. So in a massive wave of buying back their own shares. And I thought, that's interesting. So why are they doing that? Because that's not necessarily nefarious, right? It's just a question of business tactics, etc. So, and one of the answers is they're a little worried about demand. So they're not sure there's enough demand to justify the extra employees, etc. And if you buy back the shares, that actually bumps up the price of your stock a little bit for a number of financial reasons, right? So I'm like, okay, but if you believe the Republican idea of, hey, if we give these guys more tax cuts or if we somehow give them more money, they're going to spend it, that's just not true.
No, they won't spend it.
They're not spending it. Right. They're not putting it in investments, and they're buying back their own stock at 5 times the rate that they were last year.
Do you know who has to spend money? Poor people.
Yes, that's right. That's why food stamps has the highest multiplier of money circulating in the economy. So now that's one aspect of it. But then at the end, they tell us why it is that they're buying back the stocks. Okay. Professor at the University of Massachusetts at Lowell, William Lazonik, said it's totally wasted money. It does not do anything long-term for the companies. And I thought, okay, look, it boosts up their stock price a little bit, but the professor here is explaining long-term it's actually not an investment at all. It doesn't do anything for your company in terms of people buying more of your products, making more profit, etc. So Professor Lazonik, why are they doing it? Executives like buybacks because they boost their own stock options.
Yeah.
You see, they have all these stock options they're going to cash in at the end of the year. They want them to be at a higher price so that when they cash them in, they make more money. How do you get the stock options to be at a higher price when there's no more demand for your product, or you're not reinvesting, or you don't, etc.? You do it artificially by buying your own stock, boosting the price. You take home more money.
They've been doing this forever.
And right now, according to CFO Magazine, half of the CFOs in the country, chief financial officers, said their companies will keep clinging to their cash, and only 0.7% said they expect to hire more full-time employees. Keep that number in mind next time you hear a Republican on TV saying, well, let's just give it to the corporations and then they'll hire more people. 0.7% of the chief financial officers in those companies plan to hire more people. 50% plan to keep the cash. Okay?
As much as possible.
As much as possible, and they're doing it right now.
Not even for their company's health.
And Wes, what is the Republican plan for stimulating the economy? Eric Cantor, one of the leaders in the House.
What? Just leave them alone, right?
He wants a 0% corporate tax rate. 0%. So they can have more money that they can take home and not hire you with. I mean, if you're not angry at what the Republicans are doing, you have no earthly idea what you're doing. I mean, imagine a poor guy out there in their country, a middle-class guy, who gives a vote to a Republican thinking that he's going to stand up for him. What a sad, sad joke.
Well, I think, because, look, I'm not a total anti-capitalist. I think if someone's an actual entrepreneur and they start a business and they've suffered through, years of poverty to get that business up and running, they should reap the rewards of it. But none of the motherfuckers running these companies fucking did that. None of them fucking did it. They all went to fucking business school and went out and went into a high-level fucking VP job where they betrayed all the people in the company fucking below them so they could sell it off and put fucking cash in their pockets. And they think they fucking deserve it. And you, chumps, have to fucking pay for it. That's what you're being fucking told by the Republican Party.
That's Entirely right. I hate to break it to you. One of the Republicans running was in private equity. Okay, you know what they do in private equity? They now it sounds fancy, private equity, business, etc. Right? What they do is they buy companies and they chop them up, right? And that's the whole point, and that's the specific business model. And when they chop them up, you lose your jobs, right? But he makes a little extra money.
Of course, he makes extra money.
Now, has he created any value? Now, sometimes, look, sometimes there's layoffs, man. It happens. I'm totally a capitalist, and I understand that. And sometimes jobs get shipped abroad. I understand that, right? But these private equity guys, and sometimes, rare times, private equity guy will rearrange a company in a way that it creates a little bit more value. But in general, hell no, okay? They make money by laying you off and by selling off the parts, etc.
My favorite is they always wrap it in fucking patriotism.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about this country.